See, he came in and said, "This is why you don't leave this guy alone." Ah, there it is. There it is. Thanks. It just needed him to come into the room.
Can you go to the website to see if it's
Yes.
refresh?
Waiting. Refresh. Was it to take a minute or something?
Oh, you have to hit play again.
Play. Yep, there we are.
Cool.
See ya. Thank you. Way to go, Adam. Shout out to Adam. Thank you so much for coming over here. This is my first time actually touching all the live stuff by myself. First of all, welcome. Thank you guys for joining in on our stream. We have said it on Facebook. We said it on Snapchat. We've also said it on Instagram. We're actually Instagram live right now. And YouTube. And Nextdoor. So if you want to know anything that's happening with all of us, we're shooting all this stuff out all over the social media. Look at this. That's like streamception going on. If you are watching, thank you so much for tuning in. And the reason why I have this page up right now is to let you know that all of our live streams are also on our webpage, courtesy of Adam. He actually created a page, and it's called EDU Stream Page. EDU Stream Page. So this is our full website, and if you scroll down to what's new, you'll see the sniffy little picture right here. Sniffy? I'll say nifty. I'll change that. Nifty picture right here, and that will take you to the live stream page. Hope you enjoy. So today, we already did a whole thing for our younger audience, and we were building a carnival ride. And I don't know if you got to see that, but he being Brian, did a really amazing job by showing how to make a carnival ride, and did a Ferris wheel. And this stream is going to be based on trying to do the basics of architecture. There's so many kids that are wanting to come in and say, I want to actually do my own 3D models. And there's many different software to do that. This is one I usually teach to the younger kids because they're kind of familiar with doing a smaller project in school using this program called Tinkercad. It is free. All you have to do is sign in. You can use a native account towards Tinkercad or Autodesk, or you can just simply sign in with your Gmail. The one I'm going to use today is Sketchup. Sketchup is also free, and they used to have a downloadable program called Make. And in the past year, they've really tried to migrate everybody to go do the free version online. It's a web-based version, and it's called app.sketchup.com. So if you are watching, I would love for you guys to do this with me and follow along, and then we can learn something together. What you guys are seeing now is I was starting to build a ranch house, and we're gonna try to do this together. I think the ranch houses to me has got like something that is tied to my childhood, as I was raised in the East Coast, and I thought it would be a really fun project to start on. This is going to be more aimed on the exterior today, and the next stream that we're going to do is going to be on the actual architecture in the inside. So we're actually going to make real walls, do the actual spacing, how you're supposed to do in between the walls and the studs and everything. So we're going to get very technical after this first initial project is done. All right, so if you haven't done it already, go ahead and go to app.sketchup, that's SKETCHUP.com. And once you're there, it's going to give you, it should look just like this. And it's going to say create an account using the Trimble or sign in with your Google. I think 99% of you guys are going to sign in with your Google account. So once you do that, it'll have a little home button like this. It'll look just like this. And all you need to do is hit create new. When you hit create new, it's going to give you 3 options. I'm going to wait just a second just to kind of get everybody to get caught up. And all you need to do is hit create new. But I'm just going to show you what it looks like once you start. So the one that we're going to do is the simple template, feet and inches. Now to give you a quick tour, and you can just listen to this while you're still setting up your account, all these are just a bunch of really basic geometric shapes put together. So if you're thinking like Lego, if you're thinking like Play-Doh, this would be a way to think about it, but in geometric shapes using a computer. So let's do this together. It might not look exactly like this, but it will look pretty close. So I'm going to do the same thing as you, feet and inches, and we're going to start off. This is the very first screen that you're going to see when you start. Now all these brainiacs right now are probably saying, oh, I know what this line is. This is your horizon line. This is supposed to represent the sky, and this is supposed to represent the ground. And all you guys who do math and science are probably going, and I know what those three lines are. That is your access point, A-X-I-S. And I'm going to show you the basic tools, and we're going to try as much as possible for the next half hour to kind of build what you just saw. Let's go through the basic tools, and as I go through the basic tools, we will be creating this house. Now the reason why this random person showed up, and you might not have the same person as I do, but the reason why they're there is Google is trying to show you the average person's height. And the reason why that's there is so you can have a point of reference while you're creating. I have seen so many times when I first start off and I have a younger student and then they go, oh, I'm supposed to make a house, and then they make it size of 3 Costco's. So I really value the fact that this is here. So if you have a mouse or a trackpad, the trackpad is going to be zoom, is going to be 2 fingers really lightly up and down on your trackpad. And if you have a mouse, it's going to be the ball, and that's going to let you zoom in and zoom out. So what I'm going to try to challenge you to do, if you're following along, hope everybody's following along, is we're going to try to make our screen look the same so that way we can build in the same area so everything doesn't get too confusing. Now, there's 3 tools that we're going to learn right now. It's the zoom, and there's going to be H. If you press H on your keyboard, H is the hand tool. This is going to let you pan from left to right. Pan, P-A-N. Pan. So this is what I'm doing. I'm moving the world left and right, and I can also move it up and down. And then the last one is using the letter O. That is your orbit tool. Orbit tool. So we're going to be able to rotate the world. Rotate the world. So using those 3 brand new tools that you just learned, let's see if we can zoom out to where our person looks about that small. We're going to make her go down, or them go down to the bottom left. I'm going to use my orbit tool, and I'm going to make the red, oh, I went a little too far. I'm going to make the red line go all the way from the left-hand side to the right-hand side of my screen. This is what you're trying to actually accomplish. So your green angle should be going at about a 30-something degrees from your bottom left to the middle of your screen going up. And your red line should be going from the left-hand side on and shooting out to the right. And it should be parallel to the bottom of your window. I'm purposely kind of keeping these little spaces in between the instructions so that way you guys can get caught up. Now, if this is really confusing, I'm just going to repeat it again. Let's just say that we are at default. What is this default? I think that's the default, right? So I'll do it one more time. So I'm going to zoom out. So I'm using the ball of my mouse or the trackpad. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to press H, which is the hand tool. I'm going to bring it down. And I'm going to press the letter O for orbit. And I'm going to rotate. I'm pressing H to kind of correct how far down I went. And I want to look at it like a bird's eye view. I'm doing that on purpose. In an architecture program, in a 3D program, it's really about the angle. It's really about the angle that you're using to be able to hit what shape you're going to do on what access point. So we're purposely going down so that way we can make our foundation on the ground. So I'm going to assume that you guys all have it like this now. So what we're going to do is we're going to press the letter R. New tool alert. New tool alert. R is for rectangle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little close to the corner of the axis. I'm going to come on down here and I'm just going to build, I'm going to click and I'm going to drag out. So I'm going to escape. I'm going to click down here and I'm just going to drag out. Now that's a pretty decent size. It doesn't have to be too big. We're not trying to give her a mega mansion or anything. This is a nice little ranch house. We're just having some fun, right? I hope you guys are talking to each other. Okay. If you have any questions afterwards on Instagram, keep them there. I will answer you after the stream. Promise. If you're watching on YouTube, you guys can also follow us on YouTube. You guys can actually talk to us, and I would love to hear from you. So that way, if you're commenting, I can actually comment back and tell you as a review what we did. All right. So now we pulled out. We clicked. We're letting go. We're pulling out, and then I'm going to click again. So the 2 clicks are in the beginning and the end. So I'm going to click, let go, drag out, and then click again. It's going to give us our foundation rectangle. All right. So now the fun part is actually converting this from a 2D object to a 3D object. In order to do that, we're going to lift it up. In order to lift it up, we're going to do a new tool alert. Press the letter P. P. As in pull. And we're going to hit P. And then this object's going to show up. Now you're going to see something really wacky doodle on the actual shape. It's going to turn into this dotty gritty look. That's a good thing. That means you're doing exactly what we need to do. Now we're actually going to pull this up. And while I'm pulling this up, whoa, it's magic. While I'm pulling this up, I'm actually looking with my eyes on the bottom right of your screen. The reason why I'm looking at the bottom right of your screen is it's telling you what distance you're going up. It's actually measuring how far you're actually going up. So why don't we go up? I'm going to go up 18 feet. Yeah, I'm going to go at 18. Now, if you're not perfectly on 18, that's fine. This is just a practice. We're just doing this for fun together. But I'm doing an 18 foot 2 inches. So I'm just going to let go and be there. It's not exactly where I want it to be. I love having my object always in the middle, so that way I can be creative and spontaneous and be able to build. So I'm going to press H and pull it back. I also love rotating and just sort of seeing the shape, kind of getting some ideas going from there. Now, one of the things that we're going to do, usually in a ranch houses are lifted up. They're usually lifted up. So either on posts or there's like a concrete slab and you go up. And the cool thing about that is the house is raised and you get to have this effect with the wraparound, what is it called, patio or porch. So that's what we're going to do as well. So the first thing I'm going to do after we have this is we're going to go to the bottom. I'm going to use the other tool that we just used, which is an R. It's a rectangle tool. We'll go R, and then I'm going to go to the bottom left. Now on the bottom left, I'm going to click on the endpoint. It actually says it on the screen too. So I'm going to click on the endpoint. I'm going to go all the way across to the right-hand side, and I'm trying to imagine how big I want to have my porch or patio. Like how high do I want the house to be raised? This is going to be the patio right here. So I'm going to, it doesn't, again, this is no right or wrong. We're just having some fun learning the tools. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to do it there. Okay. Now, if you want a wraparound that's going to go all around the whole house, or at least on the sides too, you're going to want to do this on the sides. So can anybody remember what tool we use to rotate? You can say it right there. I'm going to say before I do it. It's the letter O. O for orbit. If you got it, good job. So I'm going to orbit. I'm going to rotate the world. And you notice the rectangles only apply to this face. So now I'm going to press the letter, his new tool alert, L. L. And the L is for your line tool. We don't need to make a rectangle at this point. We're just going to make a line. So we're going to click here at the end point, right where we just ended. And we're going to go all the way across. Now I'm following the green line. I want to do that. I'm doing that on purpose. It's following the axis. It's making a perfect line. And I'm going to stop at the edge. Boom. Now I may or may not make a wraparound, but at least I'm going to do it in the front. Now this is giving me the option, before I move forward, this is going to give me the option to do the wraparound if I wanted to. Now, does that look like it's a good perspective in comparison to the lady? You might be asking, is this a 1-story or 2-story? Doesn't really matter. Maybe it's a 1-story with really tall ceilings. That's really cool these days, have really tall ceilings. The room that I'm in has 10-foot clearance. And then when you go into the front of our learning center, it's an 8-foot clearance. I personally like it where it's a little bit taller. It feels feels nicer and a little bit roomier. But it could be a 2-story. We'll see. We have no idea yet. All right. So the next thing that we can do is we can actually pull the porch out. So if you guys want to, who remembers the P? There we go. Now, all I have to do is press the letter, and I'm going to go right where we made that rectangle on the bottom, and I'm going to pull it out. How big should this porch be? Not too big. That's enough, right? That's enough. I'm going to say that's cool. So now I'm going to say, would anybody try to take a mental guess on how to make the porch ceiling? What would I do here? Think to yourself for a second, and I'm going to give you the answer, obviously. This is a good water break, by the way. If you're not staying hydrated, you got to stay hydrated. Drink that water. All right. If you haven't guessed it, we're actually going to use either the line tool or the rectangle tool. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself a guide. Let's see. I'm going to say they need to have an 8-foot clearance at least for the porch. How I do that, there is a tool on the bottom left. This is your tool palette. It's a tape measure. Now you can measure so you can be exact. Today's not being exact, so we're going to eyeball it today. But the next session is going to be a lot more precise and exact. We're just having some fun. So let's make a rectangle, and I'm going to say, based on what I see her, I'm going to probably put the porch ceiling there. I'm going to go across, and I'm going to make a rectangle. Boom. So go ahead and try that now. So I used R for rectangle, and I click from one side to the other to split it. Now I'm going to use a push-pull tool to pull it out. Now here's going to be a new trick. It's not a new tool, but it's a new trick. I want the ceiling to come out the exact same distance as the floor. Make sense? So I want it to match the same. So if you start pulling it out, you go, hey, wait, how do you know? So the cool thing is you can actually make the tool come down to the floor, and it will measure it and balance both of them in the exact same distance. So go ahead and do that now. So now we got the porch, we got the ceiling. Cool. This has already come together pretty nice. There's some other decorative things that I was doing, like I made the edges of the porch area more like sticking out, and then the inside where the door would go was more inside. That was just a detail. We can do that later too. So right now what I'm going to do, if you see the thing that we just did, we pulled this out, which is good, but we need to close this. The reason why is every object inside SketchUp needs to be its own standalone shape. So if I decided to make the roof go at an angle, because all roofs usually are at an angle, then it would not do that because it's also inheriting the rest of the house. In order to do that, to close it off, we're going to press the letter L. I'm going to press the letter L, and I'm going to close it off. I'm literally just going to go from the top to the bottom of this little segment, of this little joint, and I'm going to draw a line. And yes, we should do it on the other side. Press the letter L, one tap to one tap, and now you got it. Now what I was telling you before is, maybe we wanted to have the ceiling of this at an angle. So here comes a new tool. The space bar, actually I'm going to give you two. The space bar is your select tool. So if you hit space bar, you can select whatever you're trying to change. So what I wanted to do is specifically change that line. I want to change this line. This is the line of the porch ceiling touching the building. Now here comes the new tool. I'm going to press the letter M. This is a very powerful tool. This is literally the move tool, but it does a lot more than just move. So I'm going to press the letter M, and I'm going to actually drag this up like that. Just a little bit up. And as you can see on the sides, that looks great. I think that looks really, really cool. We can do a lot of cool stuff with this. Actually, if we did the porch on the other side, this can actually come around, and we can actually make it wrap, and it'll look so beautiful. So let's keep to the basics right now. Oh, why don't we do a fun thing on the top? Let's make the arch on the ceiling really fast. I'm going to go about 10 more minutes, and then after that I'm going to end this, and I'm going to look on YouTube, and I'm also going to look on Instagram of all the things that you guys were saying and talking about, or any questions or comments. I would love to answer them. So don't think we're not looking. We're actually looking at both YouTube and we're looking at Instagram, and we will be responding to you. That is overall why we're doing it, is to reach out to you guys. So let's do the roof really fast. So I'm going to orbit, and I want to get about this angle. O is for orbit, H is for pan, and I'm going to make a split. I'm going to split the ceiling in two. So I'm going to go from the top, and look at this. If I go to the middle, it snaps with a midpoint. It's light blue. It's a light blue ball versus a red ball. Once you find the midpoint, you're going to click it, and you're going to drag from one side to the other. Now, if you're at this angle, I'm using the red axis, and I'm going to go from one side to the other. Now I have officially split the ceiling, the roof. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take that line, and I'm going to lift it up, and the rest of the shape will follow it and make that natural, beautiful arch that we see on most homes. All right, so now let's get it to the point where we can kind of see it, where the right-hand side of your building is facing your right-hand side of your body. Okay, I'm going to hit the space bar. The reason why I'm hitting the space bar is that it's the select tool. And to select, I want to select that line that we just made specifically. All right. Now that we have that, we're going to use the same tool that we did to alter the angle on the ceiling of the porch. So I'm going to press the letter M, but you must do this in the corner. So you want to come down to this area here, into the corner. And I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag up. And this one, I'm going to use the Y axis. The Y axis. Why? All right, so now you can choose how far up it goes. Boom. I'm going to press the letter O, kind of get a little perspective. I think that's a good angle. You guys can tell me if you want it higher up or whatever. Now, if you didn't like that and you want to do a little bit something wackier, you can actually, you don't have to go up. You can kind of do it at an angle. You can go really tall, like those old style A-frame houses. You can do that, but I'm going to go a little bit more conservative and put it in the middle. All right, now I'm going to show you a really cool thing. I mean, it's all been really cool, but I'm going to show you how Google SketchUp actually knows what you're trying to do, and it's going to mesh two shapes together. Now watch this. Please try to follow along. I hope I'm not going too fast. If I am, this is going to be documented on YouTube, and you can go back and you can follow along with it. But we hope you're having fun so far. Okay, now I'm going to press the letter L. L. This is the line tool. Now, this shape right here, this point, the front of the roof, I want to get into the middle of that with the line tool. Now I'm kind of looking at this a little more straightforward. Just to do this, a line tool. I'm going to go find the middle, and I'm actually going to use the blue axis point, which is your vertical. I'm going to click it. I'm going to drag it up. I want to see a blue line. That's the goal, is to see a blue line. If you do not see the blue line, you are too much at an angle. You got to straighten out a little bit. Now, I think I'm not going to pass the other height of the roof. I'm going to go right under it. I'm doing that on purpose. So go and go right about there and stop. Yes, that's just lines. Actually, we're going to get rid of this line. It's going to be a guide. Now, we're going to go to the top of this line, and let's go right with it first. Is that right for you? We're going to go right, and we're going to find the midpoint. Now we have a midpoint. Now that we split this line, it has a new midpoint. So you're going to click on that midpoint and click. And it has created that shape. Yes, that's exactly what we want. Some of you guys, I already hear it out there. You guys know exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm going to do the same thing for this side. I'm going to press the L. I'm going to go to the midpoint. And now we have a really cool looking triangle on our roof. But no, we're not done yet. Please press the space bar, select that line that's in the middle, and get rid of it. That was just there as a guide. Now, please orbit. I'm not going to say the letter, you should know. I'm going to rotate to the back so I can see the back side of that triangle. Now, if you know what I'm trying to do, if you're on YouTube or Instagram, you can go ahead and say it right now if you know exactly what I'm trying to do right now. Okay, so if you've guessed it, I want to take this shape and I actually want to pull it out and make it look like this is part of the roof too. So I'm going to use the push-pull tool, which is the letter P, and I'm going to select the back of this triangle, and I'm going to just literally merge it. Look how cool that looks. Now I need to know where I'm supposed to stop. So the same way that we did the ceiling to the floor of the porch, I'm doing the same thing. So you see me dragging a line from what I just pulled out from the roof to the back wall of the house. I want to make sure that those are perfectly in line. Now, if you don't want to do that, you want to make something a little crazier, you can actually pull it out. And then what you can do from there is you can put at the ends, you can put columns, make it like a column house. That would look really cool. But I'm going to keep it just like that. Now, if you orbit this, that's starting to look pretty awesome. I love how it merged them together, merged the shapes together. If you're liking this, we would love for you to let us know that you really like this and you want to see it go further. So we only got a couple minutes left. I'm going to try to finish up a little bit of these details, and then the next time I see you, we're going to try to finish up the house on the exterior, and then the second part of the series will be showing you how to correctly do the architecture in the inside, like measuring it like an architect would need it to be able to go to blueprint. Right now, we're just building a really cool 3D model. If your question is also, can I export this so I can 3D print it? Yes, you can. Some printers in their software have an issue being able to understand this this shape, and the reason why is because we didn't put any depth to it. There's no depth. So just how a real house needs, there's about 6 inches to 8 inches in between the walls, which we would do in the second house. This one's paper thin, as you know. This is paper thin. All right. So this is looking pretty awesome. What should we do next? Oh, I got an idea. What about the columns for here? What about the columns for the roof to come down? So this is actually pretty simple. I'm going to give you like 5 seconds to think on your own. How would we make those columns? I'm going to reveal it right now. There we go. There's a guess. There's a guess. All right, here we go. Now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to make a rectangle. In the rectangle, or it could be circles, up to you. It's your freedom. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag. I'm going to make a square. Also, here's the thing to point out. It has that line there to show you it's a perfect square. I got 1 minute left. I'm going to try to do this really quick. So I got that shape. I want to keep the shape on the other side too, so I'm going to select it. How do I select it? Use the space bar, double click that square, and copy it, so that way you can use it over there. Push pull tool out, just like that, voila. You have columns. I gotta pull it out all the way. Select, come down. There we go. Nice column, right? I'll do the last one right here, and then we'll continue this the next time we see you. So I'm gonna put it right here, and pull it down. Really pretty, right? Really pretty. That's looking pretty cool. Not bad for under a half hour. Not bad. Those of you guys who actually follow along and did it with me, I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for doing that. You guys are all stars. And it's going to be a really rewarding project at the very end, because afterwards you can say, I know how to use Google SketchUp. Like all the basics you will know how to do. Next time we get together, we're going to put a lot more details. We're going to put the door. We're going to get some architectural like ornaments, and we're also going to put windows and etc. So maybe we'll put a chimney, and then we'll start coloring this thing. I hope you guys had a really, really fun time. Before I log off, if you want to save it, it literally says save on top. It's going to ask you what name you want to call it. So just call it Ranch House with ATAM, ATAM. For right now, you can always change it later. So that way you don't lose it. Because right here, you might want to put more projects up there, and I don't want you to lose this. I want you to open this back up the next time I see you, which is probably tomorrow. So stay tuned. We're gonna put it on Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook. Let you guys know that we're gonna be on and what the schedule is. We look forward to seeing you guys. I look forward to hearing from all of you, and I can't wait to have a conversation with you guys when I get off. Have a wonderful rest of your day. 5 o'clock is our next stream, and we're gonna be using Unity, and our streamer will be Adam. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing you guys all at 5 o'clock. Stay well, stay healthy, and stay